Hey everybody, Charlie here with Daily Motor, covering the 2020 Volvo XC90 T6 R design. Got it in this interesting bluish gray color. I'll have to look up and see what the actual color name is, but I'm not a huge fan of this color on this type of car. I think the XC90 and most of Volvo's lineup are beautiful cars. I think the XC90 in particular is a beautiful car. And I think this sort of color, this kind of matte gray, takes away from some of the lines that the Volvo's got. I like it on maybe a small sports coupe or sedan, that sort of car, but I think this car lends itself better to a nice metallic color. Either way, awesome looking car, and it's been this way for a few years now, since it came out in I think 2015 or 2016. It's still looking great. Volvo's got some few minor visual enhancements for 2020. This R design model doesn't feature the new grille, but it does have a slightly refinished front fascia, rear fascia, and some new wheels. Let's take a look inside here. Volvo's interiors are probably the most beautiful on the market. They're simple, clean, every material inside is high quality, feels good to touch, looks good, the leathers are all nice. This light leather is not wearing super well with blue jeans, but that happens with a lot of light colors like this. Let's take a look in the rear. Second row, also beautiful. Got sunshade on the window here, keep the sun off the kids. Look at these beautiful speaker grills. Metal speaker grills. Now this is the $3,200 Bowers & Wilkins audio upgrade for this car, but I believe the standard system would be missing this speaker, but it would still have a nice metal speaker grill down here. Sitting here in the second row, the seats do recline and go back very comfortably. Got a lot of room here for a 5'10" adult, with the seat set for another 5'10" adult. And comfortable. Got a center armrest here, a few cup holders. I do have to say, this is probably the first bit of cheap plastic that I've come across in this car. It gets the job done, so by all means, maybe they decided that it's not worth putting an expensive to fix part back here if your kids are just going to beat it up anyway. Now this feature is kind of cool. And Volvo has this in a few different capacities in a lot of their vehicles. This is a center booster seat. So underneath here, you can pull that, and then this seat comes up, click it into place, and just like that, you got an extra few inches for the child's seat here. So if I hop up, as an adult, my head's hitting the ceiling, but as a kid, this would be great. Get an elevated view, sit more comfortably, likely safer. You know, Volvo wouldn't do anything that wasn't in the interest of safety. So it's cool. I like that. And when you're done, simply pull the handle again, give it a little shove, and it's back to a normal seat. We've got some. Now the car's off right now, but you've got heated seats for back here, as well as the rear or second row's own climate control, which is nice. Let's take a look at the third row, which is not particularly adult friendly, but we'll give it a try for you anyway. Seat comes back in a nice easy motion. Let's see if I can crawl back here. Well, I'm back. Doesn't necessarily mean I fit. Try pulling the seat back here. Ah, my arm. Yeah, this is not somewhere you'd want to be as an adult for any longer than maybe 10 minutes. Run down to the store or something like that. But the kids back here, they have ventilation right there. We've got a little bit of storage, cup holder on either side, so that's nice. And actually a little storage right here as well. So probably a nice place to be as a child. Not a great place to be as an adult. Let's hop on out here. That probably wouldn't be easy to do as a child either. adjust that seat. So that's probably something the adults would have to do for them. Ugh. Okay. Coming along to the back here, you've got an automated lift gate. Enough trunk space for a little bit of cargo with the third row, but you can always flip that down, and just like that, nice and easy, the third row is set. And then you've got a bunch of space. Nice and flat loads floor too. It's nice how Volvo did that. And what else is nice, under here you have a spare tire. It's not full size, but it is a compact spare that will get you out of harm's way if you get a flat tire. And you've got your jack and your tow hook and your wrench and everything you need to replace the tire right here in a convenient spot. Thank you, Volvo. Here you've got adjustable air suspension. So if I press that, the car lowered itself a little bit. I don't think it's going to give me... Oh, there we go. Still going down. Looks like you do have to keep your finger on the button. And if I press that, raises back up. Just kind of helps with if you're loading something in the back, you could drop it down as low as it would go. Actually goes quite low. There's a look at it all the way lower. It actually looks pretty cool. It's a 4-corner air suspension, so in this situation it's likely lowering the rears more than the front, but all 4 shocks can move. All right, let's get behind the wheel. Again, all the materials you interact with in the cabin are premium materials. It's great. They never get old. The steering wheel feels nice. It's good width. Door handles, speaker grills, everything. Everywhere your elbow rests, it's soft. It's a simple interior. It might not be as fancy and over-the-top luxurious as a Mercedes or a BMW, but I like the clean, uncluttered, simplistic look, and I think a lot of people do as well. Let's start it up. Beautiful gauge cluster there, all digital. No analog gauges there, even though they've kind of replicated the analog gauges. Then you have your Sensus infotainment display here. Volvo's done a lot of work over the last few years since the system came out, speeding it up, putting faster processors in, getting quicker startup time, because it was one of the primary complaints of the Volvos was the Sensus infotainment system. I'm a fan of it. I think it's intuitive. It provides a lot of functionality with minimum effort, and it's an easy-to-see display, and it fits nicely into the dash and overall works into a smooth look for the cabin. Let's play around with it a bit here. You got a notification screen up at the top, settings menu. You can customize all sorts of bits of the car. Displays, themes. This is kind of cool. Center display, you can switch over to a bright if you're into that sort of thing. A few different gauge cluster displays here. A nice performance red there, changes the font. That's kind of a more classic Volvo look with those chrome rings. And then you just use straightforward glass. There's also a head-up display in this car. Right now it's on a nice minimalistic display. It's just got the speed and the speed limit. And that's it. What else do we have here? We've got the radio. We've got satellite radio, FM, Bluetooth. All easy to switch between. For technical computing and modeling. Close that. We've got navigation. You can either have it in the smaller display or you can click here and go full screen. And you've got weather displayed right up in the front for wherever you're at. You get hourly forecasts, weekly forecasts. That's kind of cool. Here is something that is a complaint of mine and maybe for you as well. Any of the HVAC controls are in the center display. So heat for both driver and passenger, adjusted here, and it's a very responsive display. Watch. I mean, there's no lag, which is really good, but it just means that it takes a few extra steps and a little bit of waiting and the possibility of delay just to do something simple like change the fan speed or change the temperature. In theory, if you own this vehicle, you'd probably set it to your desired temperature, maybe 73. I can synchronize here. Leave it on auto and let the car do its thing. Another cool way of adjusting the temperature is with the voice control. Check this out. I'm hot.
Temperature set to 70 degrees.
Hey, look at that. Drop the temperature by 2 degrees. Let's do it again. I'm still hot.
Searching for POI in Michigan.
Can't use the word still in there, so you do have to follow
Select
Volvo's
a
commands.
POI in the list.
Cancel.
Cancel.
I am hot.
Temperature set to 67 degrees.
I'm cold.
Temperature set to 70 degrees.
Set temperature to 74 degrees.
Temperature set to 74 degrees.
Driver seat heat on.
Turning on seat heat.
Turn down my seat heat.
Lowering seat heat.
Yeah, so you can have a little bit of natural language at that point. Turn off the seat heat.
Turning off seat heat.
Let's see if it works with the wheel. Turn on heated steering wheel.
Turning on steering wheel heat.
Hey, look at that. That's cool. Turn off steering wheel heat.
Turning off steering wheel heat.
So I know there are more voice commands that you can do as well, but that's just an example of kind of how Volvo's taken the voice commands a little bit more next step. I know that they're trying to make it so the driver never has to take his or her hands off the wheel or attention off the road. They can just do everything from right here, whether it's voice or steering wheel controls. Taking a little bit more of a look around the cabin here. Got a little microfiber cloth for cleaning off the screen that Volvo provides. Got a center console here, some phone cables, some USB ports. This is a little bit extra, but you can you have to lower the glove box using this button. But yet you have to reach over to close it. Seat has a lot of adjustments. You've got a cushion extension, which is nice. You can go in and out with that. And you can go up for a lumbar adjustment in 4 different directions. Up, down, in, or out. Get a little low lumbar in there. Nice. And then your standard back and forth standard seat adjustments. All right, let's go for a drive. Now this is the T6 model. It features a 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged engine. The T5 would have the same engine, but with only a turbocharger on it. I want to say the T5 makes 250 horse, but this one makes 316, and I can check here. I think it's 296 pound-feet of torque. Let's see if my memory is correct. 316 horsepower, sorry, and 295 pound-feet of torque. It's enough. It goes. It's a large car, so it kind of needs that power. The T5 would definitely be a little bit more strained in this situation. There's also a T8 plug-in hybrid that makes 400 horsepower. Uses the same engine, but adds some battery power there. All right, stepping off here. Ease in, just like I were pulling out normally on a 55-mile-an-hour road here. It's a smooth operator. It's by no means anything inspiring. It sounds a little high-pitched and whiny with the supercharger and the turbocharger and just the small nature of the engine, but it's efficient. It gets 26 miles to the gallon on the highway. I have to double check the city fuel economy figures, but I think it's just under 20, which is decent for a 3-row SUV. Some broken pavement coming up here, which allows me to rant about this growing trend that's been happening for a while now of large wheels and low profile tires on luxury cars. I get it. If you want to have a sports car or a flashy car, something high performance, having a lower profile tire helps you have less body roll, better road feel, and most people think it looks better. But in a car that's supposed to be luxurious feeling, supposed to be comfortable, smooth, isolated, these 35 spec profile tires on 22-inch wheels are transmitting every little road imperfection up into the cabin. And there's only so much you can do with suspension tuning and damping to try to eliminate that. These little road cracks, they're not jarring because the suspension's doing its best to absorb the impact once the bigger impacts happen. But the little tiny imperfections are all just coming through into the cabin. You can hear them and you can feel them. And if it weren't for those gosh darn 22-inch wheels, wouldn't have that. Other than that, though, the Volvo drives well. It's not a canyon carver, but nor should it be. It has a few different drive modes. We've got Eco, Comfort, and Individual, where you can kind of customize the functions of all of them, and then Polestar Engineered, which is Volvo's way of saying sport. In that mode, transmission kicks down, the suspension actually lowers a little bit, the air suspension, and throttle is a little bit touchier. And we got a semi-truck making his way out here. Not the best time to be in Polestar Engineered mode. We've got paddle shifters as well. You can upshift on the right, downshift on the left. They're responsive enough. Definitely a bit of turbo lag though there. If I'm off the throttle and I get on it, there's a little bit of a delay before it totally kicks in. Let's do a little 0 to 60 here. Let's do a little 0 to 60. It gets there. It's nothing atrocious. It does the job. So what is this vehicle going up against? We've got BMW's X5, Mercedes GLE, Audi Q7. All those vehicles are going to vary a little bit in powertrain and overall size, but they're the similar prices and similar mission, if you will. And I think the Volvo's a serious contender. The X5's very good, and pretty much no one beats BMW when it comes to engine and transmission. And with the X5, you can get the inline 6 turbocharged V8, twin turbo actually, and then 2 even more powerful versions of that turbocharged V8. So the BMW's definitely got the market on powertrains, and it looks good and it's comfortable, priced competitively. So BMW X5 might be the ticket in this market, but the Volvo is definitely a classier option. Like I said, a little bit more simplified, sophisticated. If you don't necessarily want that bad showiness of the X5, then the Volvo might be the way to go. The Mercedes GLE is a bit bland, it's a bit strange, and its base motor, the GLE 350, it's just a bit anemic, which the T5 XC90 is probably not great either, but this T6 model is plenty strong enough and has enough grunt to be more than satisfying. Getting up to highway speeds here. Here's where the Volvo really shines. Just cruises along. I mean, I would like a little bit more isolation from these bumps, but again, 22-inch wheels, what are you going to do? The Volvo has a really advanced adaptive cruise control system along with active lane keeping assist, which they call pilot assist. I have the cruise control set here at 75. Just going to let it do its thing. I'm going to stay engaged with the driving experience but not touch the wheel. And it's just going to stay nicely right in the middle of the lane. And then it tells me to apply steering a little bit nicely. Then it tells me to apply steering a little bit more forcefully. And if I still don't do anything, it says canceled, apply steering, and it starts to slow the car down. The whole cruise control quits and everything. Now, if you don't want that feature, if it's getting annoying, you can just click right there very simply. And then this is just standard adaptive cruise control with 5 different following distances. It works well. Great for long road trips. Where you might be grabbing a little bit of food or playing with the radio. Having that pilot assist just helps you in case you have something you didn't notice or come up on a car that's going very slow. It's a good feature. Overall, I would have expected the Volvo to be a little bit more isolated here on the highway. I'll have to check some 70 mile per hour cruise ratings, but at this price range, looking in the mid $50,000 range, actually no, that's where this car starts. It's up on the $70,000 as equipped. I just would have liked it to be a little quieter, a little more isolated. Seats are great though, very comfortable. Overall, the cabin's a very nice place to be. Now this is kind of interesting. In eco mode, the tachometer goes away and you get this sort of eco impact gauge. So if I get on the throttle hard, you can see it goes up high, indicating that I'm not being as environmentally conscious as I should be, as eco-conscious, if you will. And then as I ease on the throttle or let off, then it goes back down to almost where I could be. So if I go back into normal mode here, comfort, see I've got a normal tachometer, and then in eco mode, I've got this. And the suspension lowers a little bit more aerodynamic. And when I get on the throttle here, watch the needle in the middle separates from a little needle on the edge, telling me where I could be. Like if I wanted to get up to that speed, I could have gone easier on the throttle or braked a little lighter, or all these different things that I could have done to be more environmentally or more economically conscious. Final thoughts on the XC90. It's a good car. It's a good package. Maybe not one of my top in the 3-row segment, but definitely a strong consideration. It's a beautiful car. Very, very solid, very well built, quality materials. I don't know what the longevity is going to be like of that supercharged, turbocharged 2-liter engine if it's being taxed a little hard. But when you're looking at this car from the outside, it kind of doesn't matter, does it? Let's get out and take one more look. Ah, yes. even in this strange gray, blue, matte type color. It is a sharp car, especially for a 3-row vehicle, and definitely one you should take a look at. Thanks a lot, everyone. Drive on.